I'm so excited for this playlist here today. And yes, you heard me correctly, playlist, not video, because there is a whole set of videos here that are going to teach you how to be growing zucchinis. And so when I was getting into gardening, I found that there was a lot of information out there, but it was really disparate and just at kind of one moment or one point in the season, and then I'd have to go somewhere else to find the rest of the information. And so I figured, why is there not something that just follows a plant from the very beginning when it's a seed all the way through to harvesting it? And since that didn't exist or I couldn't find it, I figured, hey, let's create that ourselves. And so what we're going to go through in this playlist is every key phase of these zucchini seeds right here, from starting them today, ultimately to harvesting them at the end of the season. All right, so just before we dive in and get started on this playlist, if you have any questions at any point throughout it, two things to do. First, take a look through the videos in the playlist to see if there's a particular video on, say, powdery mildew or how to be watering, transplanting, and you might get your question answered right there. If you don't find an answer to that question or you need something more urgently, just drop that as a comment on any one of the videos, and I start every one of my days by answering all the questions that we get on YouTube, so you'll get a response from me super quickly there. So as we get started here, it is day 0 and we are starting our zucchini seeds today. And so rather than providing you with tons of information, I just want to cover off on 3 key pieces of information for successfully growing zucchini and having them thriving. And then we are going to finish today's video by actually starting our seeds. So those 3 pieces of information that are really important to kind of keep in the back of your mind when it comes to growing zucchini. The first one is warmth. So for zucchinis to grow, they are absolutely one of our warmer weather crops. What this means is that for germinating, we need to make sure it's a nice and warm environment. And then for transplanting them and moving them out into the garden, we don't want to rush that. They're going to be one of our last vegetables that we move into the garden. The second key piece of information is that zucchinis are going to be one of the largest growing plants in the garden. And what that means is that we want to give them lots of space. And so we've got a whole video on how to go about kind of spacing out and planning your perfect vegetable garden. And in there, you will see that there are 4 square feet that we want to be dedicating for zucchinis. It's not going to feel like a lot when you transplant it, but just wait and you'll see how big those leaves and the fruit get. And the third key piece of information is that if you follow the steps in this video, you are going to end up with some thriving zucchini plants and a lot of zucchinis coming off of those plants to be using in different dishes. So it is one of our highest yielding vegetables. So those are the only 3 pieces of information that you need to have on hand right now. Everything else, from what the leaves look like to what type of soil it needs to be in to how we feed and fertilize it and more, is covered off on the videos throughout this playlist. So the only other thing that I want to cover off on in today's video is actually getting these seeds started. So to get our zucchini seeds started, all that I'm going to be doing is grabbing one of our seed cells here. And so with our little seed cell here, we're going to fill it up to about 1 centimeter from the top. So you're just going to get the seedling mix in there until it is, as we can see here, just about 1 centimeter from the top. Now, in order for these zucchini seeds to germinate, we need them to be in a warm and moist environment. So what I'm going to do is grab my turkey baster, which is my favorite watering weapon, and I'm going to add 1 turkey base of water onto the top of the seedling mix here. And that's our first round of water to allow that to begin to kind of work its way in. Now, the variety of zucchinis that we're going to be growing are these Black Beauties from West Coast Seeds. And I've actually got a big bag of them right here. And you want to grab 5 seeds. And once you have those seeds, you're just going to place those throughout the seed cell, kind of evenly spaced. And the reason why we start 5 seeds is because that ensures that if one of them just doesn't happen to germinate, that we still got 4 other chances to get one of them successfully germinated. All right, so now that I've got the seeds into the seedling mix like so, we do our second round of watering. Again, we want them to be in that warm and moist environment here. So all that I do is another round of water over top of those seeds. Okay, and the last thing that you want to do is cover these seeds with about 1 centimeter of seedling mix. So all that you do is grab about a handful and then just kind of gently pour that onto the top. And so once you have that on there, all that you need to do is just kind of tap the bottom of it so that the seedling mix sits nice and evenly across the top there. And with that seedling mix now in there, all that we do is give it its final watering. So our third and final turkey baste worth of water, and that ensures that not only is the seedling mix below wet, but also the seeds and the seedling mix up above. Sometimes I like to do an extra one on the last little bit here. So we'll do 2 rounds of water on the top here. So as you can see, we've got our seeds now in there, taken care of super quickly. And as I mentioned, it needs to be in a warm and moist environment. So we've got the moisture side down and done. Now we just need to make sure that it's in a warm environment. And that's why I always like to have a thermometer on hand. So for these zucchini seeds to germinate and begin growing, it needs to be at least 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. So make sure that wherever you put your grow light, your seed starting station, that the ambient temperature is at least 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius, or that you use a heating mat in order to get it to that temperature. Once you've found an area that is in that zone or that temperature, all that you do is you grab your seed cell and you place it underneath that grow light, and you turn the grow light on just like so. And I'm going to turn that off so that you can still see me. And once you have it underneath that grow light there, you're going to want to leave the grow light on for 12 to 13 hours per day. So between now and day 7, all that we do is that we leave the grow light on for 12 to 13 hours per day, and then we let our seeds sit underneath there. And then we're going to take our turkey baster and we are going to water them 1 turkey baste every 2 to 3 days. The reason why it might vary between 2 and 3 days is because one individual might be starting at 75 Fahrenheit, another one at 78 Fahrenheit. You might be using a fan that's blowing some air, and that's going to dry out the seedling mix more quickly. So to double check, all that you want to do is just take the back of your hand. Just a couple things falling down. And just place that onto the top of the seedling mix. If you're noticing that there is still some moisture to the touch, you're good. If there isn't, then go ahead and give it that next turkey baste of water. And again, that's going to be kind of every 2 to 3 days. As that's all that you need to do between now and day 7. And with that being said, the next video in this playlist is our day 7 check-in, where we're going to actually check and see if any of these seeds have successfully germinated. So if you're about to be starting your zucchini seeds and you want to see what day 7 looks like, I really encourage you to check out that video for a little bit of a sneak peek of what to expect over those first 7 days. And the link to that video can be found right here. So all you have to do is click on that and you can see the day 7 check-in. But folks, that's everything that I wanted to cover off on for today. If you do have any questions, please do ask those down in the comments below. Otherwise, you're doing absolutely amazing. You're going to have some beautiful zucchini babies. I'll catch you on the next video and see you soon.